ordering decimals. All right, in order to put numbers from least to greatest, it's always easiest if you line them up, which is exactly what they do right here. So they just start lining them up and make sure that the decimals line up. That's what I mean by line them up. So we have 8 point something for each one of these. So we line them up. And then they also tell you that we add zeros to any spaces that don't have anything. So blank means put a 0 there. So we should have these nice, neat columns coming down. And they should be nice and lined up. So the next thing we do is we start comparing. Well, if we look at this one, they all have 8s on the first one. So we can't really compare that first one because 8 is not greater or less than 8. So then we're going to look at the next column here. And so they start highlighting all of this blue. So first, we look at this column that has the 5, 5, 5, 7, 7. So which one is smaller, 5 or 7? Well, 5. So we're going to look at these two first. Since 5 and 5 are the same, I need to look at the next number in order to make a decision. Well, the next number is 0 and 0. I can't make a decision off of that either. So I have to go to the next number, and that's 8 and 0. So 8 and 0, well, 8's bigger than 0. So that means that this number, 8.5000, is the smallest. And the next one, because 8 was bigger than 0 and we were looking at just these first two, this must be the next one in line. So this is the smallest. This is the second one. Now we're going to look at these bottom two that we ignored for a moment because they have 7 and 7. So we can't compare 7 and 7, so we need to look at the next number. We have 8 and 0. All right, well, 8 is bigger than 0 again. So I know that the one with 0 here is going to be smaller. I'm talking about the one with 0 right here, right underneath. So this is the third number in our line. And then because we were just comparing and it's the last one, this will be our fourth number in line. So we're just comparing and seeing where they fit, which number is bigger than the other. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So now that I have my pen, let's go ahead and line these up. And I'm going to put them right in order. So my first one, it says 5.2712. I'm going to leave it as the first one. The second one is 7.57. And there's nothing here, so I need to put zeros so that I have the same number of numbers. 7.5 is my third number. And I'm going to add 3 zeros again so I have all 4 numbers. And then 7.507, and I'm going to add 1 0 to this one. All right, so we need to start comparing. So I'm going to look at this first number. Well, 5 is smaller. Dorky pen is still arguing. All right, so 5 is smaller than 7. So that tells me that the 5.2712 is the smallest number. It's the only one that starts with a 5. So I'm going to click and drag it and drop it right in there. Now, if you're having trouble with clicking and dragging like this, you can just type the number in. You don't have to click and drag. But clicking and dragging just means you don't have to type it in. You just click it and drag it, and then once that turns gray, drop it. But if you're having trouble with that, you can also just click in the square, and you can start typing a number like this, okay? All right, so now that I've used this number, I'm going to come back, and I'm actually going to cross it off. I've already used it. So that way I know I'm not going to use that one again. So now I'm looking here, and I know they're all 7s. So I want to ignore these 7s because they're all the same. I can't compare those. So let's go to the next column. Well, they're all 5s. I can't compare those either. They're all equal to each other. So I'm going to cross these out, and I'm going to go to the next column here. So I have 7, 0, 0. Well, 7's definitely bigger than 0 and 0. So I actually know this is the biggest one. So I can come over to my list, and I can find 7.57, which is this one here, and I can drag it all the way to the end. That has to be my biggest one because it's bigger than the other two that I have left over. So now I just have to figure out which one of these comes first in the last two that I have here. So I have 0 and 0. Well, I can't compare 0 and 0. Those are the same. So I'm going to go one more over. And remember, we've already used this one. So now I have 0 and 7. Oh, well, 0 is smaller than 7. So this one must be my second number in line, which is 7.5. Remember, we added a bunch of zeros to it. And then the last one, just remember you have to pay attention to which one you're grabbing because it will let you grab it twice. I can grab and drop this one, but I've already put it here. It's not going to tell you that you've already grabbed it. So you have to pay attention. I want 7.507. All right, let's check that. And we're good to go. Next. Clear. Okay. Oh, marking the board here. All right, so let's go ahead and write our numbers out. So we have 5.7, 5.049, 5.4972, and 5.49. So now anywhere where I don't have something, I'm going to go through and add zeros so that I know that it's a 0 in my empty space. So now I need to go through and start comparing. Well, all of my numbers start with 5, so I can't compare those. I'm going to go to my next column here. So I have 7, 0, 4, and 4. I can tell two things from this column. I can give you the smallest number, which is 0, and I can also give you the largest number, which is 7. So right away, I can go to my numbers, and I want to grab 5.7, which is my first one. That is my biggest number because 7 is the biggest one here. And then I want to go to 5.049, which is this second one in line. And I want to put that first because that's my smallest number. So now I need to come back over here and I want to finish comparing. I had 4 and 4 for these two. And remember, we just used these. So 4 and 4 are the same. 9 and 9 is also the same for the next column. So I want to keep going until I find something that's different. So 7 and 0. Well, 0 is smaller than 7, so this is my second number in line. So 5.49, which is the last number I wrote. It also helps if you write them in order here because I know this is my last number. 5.7, I wrote that first, and it comes first. So if you write them in the same order as they gave them to you, makes it a little bit easier. All right, and then our third number will be 5.4972. So this nice long one here. Check. All right, let's do one more of these. Clear. And okay, so we have 6.3, 6.207, 6.27, 7.13. All right, so I'm going to fill these in with zeros. The other thing is if you're having trouble keeping your lines straight here, like your columns in a nice neat line, take your lined paper and turn it sideways. And what that does is it actually gives you columns. And just in each line, you write one number going across. So in your lined paper, it should look like this, sideways. So you literally already have lines. And if you think of like lined paper, usually there's like a red line on the side here. So hopefully you can kind of picture that. So if you turn your lined paper sideways, it just helps you line everything up. It's kind of a neat little trick there. All right, so I guess I will use pink to cross everything off since I used my red line here to show you your paper. And I can even give you a little bit more. So you usually have like a 3-hole punch, right? Something like that. So hopefully it starts to look a little bit like a lined paper here so you get what I'm talking about. All right, so we're going to go down and compare. So we have 6, 6, 6. Oh, 7. 7's big. I'm going to use that one right now. That's my biggest number. So I'm going to drop it down in the biggest spot here, which is the last spot. All right, so now we know we can't compare these ones. So we're going to move to the next column here. 3, 2, 2. Well, 3 is big. It's bigger than 2 and 2. So this must be bigger, meaning that it's got to go. And let's see, it's 6.3, so it's this one. It's got to go second to last here. It's got to be my third number in line because these two are smaller. So these two are going to go in one of these two places here. So I just use this one, 2 and 2. So that's the same. Can't compare 2 and 2. I'm going to go 0 and 7. 0 is smaller than 7. So now I know that this second number I wrote down is actually the smallest. And the third number is the second to smallest. All right, so we're going to check. And we finished another one. Yay.